Ya. Halo guys, kembali lagi bersama Ogo di sini Neza. Kita lagi ada di SKS Core Kepoin Esports. Nah, berbeda dari sebelumnya ya kan. Sekarang SKS lagi spesial banget karena Ogut yang biasanya kan ditemani Mas Gangga tuh. Atau enggak ya yang lainnya ada biasanya Mas Gangga. Cuman kali ini agak berbeda, lebih spesial karena Ogut bakal ditemani orang penting. Waduh, orang penting. Akan ditemani oleh Head of Esports ya Riot Games Southeast Asia, Kristran. Nah, di situ ya nggak usah banyak basa-basi ya kan, langsung kita hubungi aja. Ini dia.
So we know that Wild Rift is not is a newcomer in this industry, like in gaming industry, and then Riot start to esports the esports screens. So what's is it difficult to develop esports scenes, especially in Indonesia when it has so many games that esports has already established, uh, well established in Indonesia.
Oh, that's a great question, right? I think is it hard?
Mm-hmm.
The easy answer is like hard, but the question is why is it hard, right? I think that's the interesting question, right?
Yeah, that's
and, and bro, I think we all know that everything in gaming is hard, right? Because the gamer, our customer, is very smart, and they want like us to do interesting things, right? And I'll be honest,
yeah.
Riot, we are kind of always a little bit late to the party,
Mhm.
and I'll tell you, like League of Legends was not the first MOBA.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. That's true.
Valorant wasn't the first tactical FPS, right?
True.
And Wild Rift is not the first mobile MOBA, right? But our philosophy is the same kind of thing throughout, which is we want to create interesting games that people will want to play for a long time, right? And so that goes for League of Legends, that goes for Valorant, that goes for Wild Rift, and specifically in Indonesia, it is a very crowded market. You're absolutely correct, right?
That's true.
And it's not a surprise to us. I think it's like the question is, are we surprised? And I think we always knew that the Indonesian gamer was a smart gamer that had a lot of choice, right? And we're like, what a great time to be an Indonesian player. What a great time, right? And so I think what we are working on is how do we make Wild Rift Esports and continue to make Wild Rift Esports something that is worthy and delightful for the Indonesian gamer. So the things that we're trying to work on, right, is just like showcase the great talent that's available and make Wild Rift have its own identity, so people know that when they watch Wild Rift, they're watching Wild Rift and not something else, right? The second thing is we want to make sure Indonesia is part of the global competitive scene, because up until now, at least for Riot Games and our esports, in 2021 we really see Indonesian talent breaking free from like making a big noise like in the scene, right? I think in Valorant we see some very strong teams come up from Indonesia, and in the fall season for Wild Rift Icon series, MBR Esports didn't lose, right? They have like not lost a match for the whole fall split. So as we go into the C champs, like the traditional favorite teams of like Philippines, Taiwan, and Thailand are all very, very curious and excited / intimidated by Indonesian talent. And I think that is a very interesting thing that is going to happen, right? So we're working on some really interesting things to continue to make Indonesian gamers happy, because it's a great time to be an Indonesian gamer, right? No, like, do you agree it's a great time to be an Indonesian gamer?
It's really great time for us, like a lot of. a lot of joys to gaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you guys have like 60 million gamers, like in the country, right? That's like more than most countries exist
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
population, right?
That's true. So as you mentioned about Valorant, so we know that Riot Games is expanding, developing the esport, the esports is not just for Wild Rift but also for Valorant. So is it there's some tricky, like you are working on the two directions there, like mobile games and then the PC games like Valorant.
Um, yes and no, right? I can see how like you can think that they're different things, right? Like they're very different games. Like the type of people who play Valorant are very different from Wild Rift. Um, the mission is the same though, which is to delight like fans and players everywhere. The mission is the same in that we want to develop talent and to really showcase what hard work and determination can bring you when you do something that you really are truly passionate about, right? I think fundamentally, and I'm gonna try to say this carefully. So if I say it wrong,
Okay.
please forgive me, okay, brother?
It's okay.
It's we used to be for like 10 years a game company with only one game. And we were like, oh, if we do another game, then we're not gonna do League of Legends well anymore, right? And that kind of like we got in our own way and distracted ourselves by saying, oh, Riot can only be good at one thing, right? But one day our CEO was like, well, we should try to grow, and we should like it's just the our company mission is not to serve just League of Legends players. Our company is to be the most player focused company in the world, and there are lots of different players in the world, right? There are FPS players, there are auto battler players, there are mobile
Yeah.
players, there are mobile players. I'm not saying that we have a sports game coming up, but like there are
Really?
sports players. I'm not saying that, brother.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not saying
It's
that.
okay.
No
It's okay.
sport game. Right? You're not gonna
It's
see
okay.
like Legends of Football or
Oh,
or like
okay.
Valor Ball or no, not gonna happen. Okay, but
It's
but
okay.
like it like they're all consistent in that we want to serve the player and do interesting things for the player so that they can work hard, achieve, right, tell stories, and just like find a way for them to just like develop discipline and communications, etc. Either by playing or by watching people perform esports at the peak of performance.
Okay, I see. So, I want to talk about, especially about Wild Rift. Before the SEA, Wild Rift SEA. Yeah, we know that back there, there have some tensions between Wild Rift and then the competitors. Uh, Sometimes because especially
Like we're talking about like Clash Royale, right?
no, like the
I'm
same
joking.
MOBAs.
I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking, bro.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Same as the MOBA mobile games, and especially regarding the teams competing in in the competitors. Like first at first they are welcoming Wild Rift, and then when the competition starts, the season competition starts, they are breaking down the farewell with their team. So how do you say about that, like yeah, I can say the team, like some teams have already Wild Rift teams, but and then they disband their teams.
Yeah. I think it's a tough situation, right? And I'm gonna take off my Riot hat and put on like my my esports team owner hat, right? And it's like this. If I'm a team owner, I want to have the most stable source of revenue, right?
True.
And stable. Like it's like when you invest, you have like different small investments, right? You might have like some stocks, you might have some bonds, et cetera, et cetera. And an esports team, like the best esports teams in the world, are in multiple esports, right? Like for Valorant, I'm just gonna talk Valorant because you mentioned Wild Rift, but I'd rather talk Valorant. Like the best Valorant teams in the world also have Overwatch teams. They also have
True.
CS:GO teams. They also have Rainbow Six teams, right? Rainbow Six Siege teams, etc.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
also have like League of Legends and Dota teams, etc. Because like that diversification like allows them to have resilience over long term,
Mhm.
so that you have a great brand that where like a fan of one game becomes a fan of another game, but it's still a fan of the same organization. And at Riot and myself, I think that is a great thing because we want to have partners that are just as strong and as big and as long lived and as storied as Riot, right? Um, I'll be honest. I think that the situation today may be very different in 6 months or a year, right? And like
True.
team owners, ourselves, other people in the ecosystem are constantly trying to like think about like what makes sense, etc. Right? And what makes sense today may not make sense in the future, but philosophically, I think we want the esports teams that we work with to be successful for a long, long time. Right?
Mm.
Part of that means giving them the freedom to do business with as many partners or whomever they want, as long as they are, like good people, right? Like good sportsmen, don't cheat, don't steal players from each other, all that stuff, right? Like, right? But as long as everybody's a good organization, then we want everybody to be able to like do everything they can, and that's just the right way. And I think long term, light and openness will win over closed systems.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, and then we know that Riot try to right now developing esports scene, especially the White Rift scenes in Southeast Asian. There's a lot of different regulations per country. Like we don't know about I don't know about Thailand. I don't know about Vietnam or any countries. But in Indonesia, like as you probably has known, there's some regulation that that Riot's games need to
PBSC.
to register.
PBSC?
Yes, the PBSC.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of them.
No, really?
I'm
PBSC?
joking.
Oh.
I'm joking.
Really? Because like that. And Riot needs to register their game. They need to register Valorant or Wild Rift to PBSC, so they can, so Valorant and Wild Rift can develop esports scene can develop in Indonesia. How you feel about it?
Actually, this may surprise you, but I'm feeling pretty good about it, right? And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Governments are there to to protect the people, right? And
Yes.
so I think registration and making sure that I'm pretty confident that Riot, we want to be good citizens and good guests of the Indonesian government so that we can be productive and positive and harmonious, right? But we need it's when I think about the role that government regulations play, it's not about just Riot. It's about the gamers of Indonesia and the young people, and how do we protect them, right? Because like I said, I think that Riot, we try really hard, and we're not perfect. Nizatula, we are not perfect, but we try really hard to be responsible and understand how to protect and take care of the gamers. But not every company is Riot, right? And so
Yeah, that's right.
the government has to balance how they talk to a Riot versus companies that may not be as thoughtful, or let's just say thoughtful about their role in influencing the youth of Indonesia or Thailand or Vietnam, etc. Right? And so, if the Indonesian government really wants to protect like their people, they put these regulations up, and we're like, yes, let's figure out how to comply, and if there's things that we can help shape or support or give advice on, then we're happy to do it. But it's like the shared goal of protecting everybody, right? Now, I'll be honest with regards to like specific regulations, I don't have all the details yet because we're just like starting to have those conversations now. But I think the intent is probably the right thing, and it's something that we see in all these other, and in almost every other market we work in.
Oh, okay. Well,
Does that make sense?
that really makes sense actually, but because I actually have a same direction to with PBSC. So yeah, it's kinda, let's hope the best lah about that. So that's it. Thank you, Chris, for the chance. Thank you, Riyadh, for the opportunity. Like it's my honor to do this interview.
And I hope that you're safe, right? And I'll see you when I can as well.
I hope everyone's safe too.
Yes, sir. All right. So thank you so much for your time, Nezatullah.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chris.